So for this painting that I wanted to do today, I was getting super tired of the same colors that I was using every single painting. I was finding that the last few, it looked like I just kind of used the same 5 colors almost in the same places, and it was creating paintings that were a little bit boring to look at in my opinion. So I decided I'm going to pre-mix about 4 or 5 different colors and shades and use those instead of those same few I've been using. So I mixed them together. I liked the way they looked, and I just wanted to start putting some colors on. I didn't really want to overthink the aspects or plan anything out. So I wanted to use that kind of purple and make a shape and see what would come from that. I wanted to be mindful of where I was putting the colors for this one. I wanted them to look nice and complement each other. Oftentimes I just kind of randomly throw them together and sometimes it works, but for this one, using these new colors, I wanted to really use a good mix and make sure that I was being more intentional with where I was putting them. At the beginning here, I just wanted to put some shapes and different kind of aspects to the painting using a variety of these colors and in some of the larger spots, so then I at least have something to work with. I find sometimes if I focus too much on the small details, I'll fill up one side or then the other side's plain, and I find I just kind of use different little details or doodles within it that don't really work. So I wanted to be a little more mindful of that in this one and try and spread out the colors in places where they work and complement each other well. In a lot of my past paintings, I use a kind of black border or Sharpie to really show those different edges of each part of the painting. And for this one, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have the colors blend into each other in some parts and not be as rigid with that kind of border and sections. The blue that I was using in this one was one of my favorite colors I've mixed. It's similar to one of the other blues I used, but I like how it's a little bit darker, and I found that it popped really well with the orange and the purple as well. So I just wanted to use that and make sure that there isn't one color that I'm using way too much. So I wanted to make sure if there's a lot of blue in one area, I add another color in between another spot so it is a little bit easier to look at. At this point, I still wasn't sure how this one would turn out. So my plan was just to kind of layer colors and add little patterns where I saw them. I didn't want to do any crazy aspects, but I like drawing little eyes in places and little shapes in places just to kind of give an excuse to add more different colors in those spots. And this one I was heavy on the layering of colors and adding on as much as I can before it looks too cluttered. As you can see, the orange and the blue is a kind of color scheme I was using a lot in this one. My strategy now is just going through all the places that I saw one color and picking another one that complements it and adding a lot of dots or lines. I started doing a little bit where I kind of wanted to show direction of it, so I would do it around a shape or something like that just to show and kind of give it more of a kind of intentional feel. This is where it was finally getting a little bit more satisfying to look at. I was adding more little details, and I really like the kind of darker colors with this painting. And I found the more I was adding these little details, the more interesting it was to look at, and I didn't have any of those kind of larger aspects with an outline and more planned out. So I wasn't sure how this one was gonna go, but at this point I was starting to really like how it was looking. Now I was getting quite happy with how it was looking, and I wanted to add a few more little designs and lines of other color in, but I didn't want to add any more large aspects because I didn't want it to look cluttered. So I just am adding the finishing touches here and making sure that no colors are clashing and there's not any large sections where it's just one color. So I was just going through and adding these final touches. So now I'm just finishing it up, and I'm actually quite happy with how this one turned out. I am definitely going to try to use more colors like this in the future, and I'm happy with how all the colors blended with each other in this one.